And this is not how I envisioned the night going for Carlos Prates. I'm a little disappointed in him. My boy Carlos Prates just got defeated by Ian Garry on UFC Kansas City's fight night. And Carlos Prates, he really just never... I hate fighters that just get it going a little too late, too soon. Like Prates in the beginning of the fight, I'm like, okay, he's playing his patient game plan with hunting for the kill shot, and he's going to eventually find an opening for the hook, and get the crazy KO, but it never came. He just, in the first two rounds, Prates had it on the feet. He had it where he is superior and on his sweet spot to be able to hunt at range and get any kind of shots going, but he never landed on Ian Garry, and I get it. Ian Garry, he's very elusive and he's hard to hit. And Carlos Prates in the beginning looked amazing with his takedown defense. Phenomenal. He was never taken down until this fight, and in the first couple rounds, Ian Garry could not take him down when Prates had a full gas tank. But as the fight progressed, and then Garry eventually did take him down, not just once, but I think 3 different times. And Prates just a little bit too late, too soon. And he had Garry hurt in the 5th round. I really thought Prates was going to come in the clutch and finish him with a ground and pound TKO or something. But Prates just never... The frustrating thing about it is every time he had maybe one quick thing going for him, he never followed it up. He just kept on reserving, going back and giving Garry time to heal and recover from whatever Prates thrown at him, which wasn't a lot. I did not see enough from Carlos Prates in this fight. I really just thought he was going to turn it up a notch. I thought he had the confidence. But yeah, this is the first fighting nerd to lose in a fight in the UFC. The fighting nerd's undefeated streak is no more. And Prates will have to basically be brought back to the drawing board. I still think he has a lot of potential for sure. He's still truly like a very skilled welterweight with some big power, and he displayed an incredible takedown defensive game. But Ian Garry did win the majority of those rounds, I thought. And Prates, of course, had an incredible 5th round. It was a very back and forth, but he almost really put Garry away. He had Garry hurt. He had him on the ground in the final minute. I really thought he was about to ground and pound him and TKO finish him. And Prates just didn't work Garry properly in that final minute of the fight. So yeah, frustrated with how Prates performed, but I really came into this fight thinking that if he had it on the feet, if he had it his way, which the majority of the fight he did, he would get something going on the feet and put Garry to sleep. And respect to Ian Garry. Respect to Ian Garry altogether, like taking a second short notice fight and winning like that. I had to give it to him. He was looking pretty clean on the feet in the first couple rounds. He was looking pretty sharp and on his game. A lot of high kicks. And he had Prates really tired in those final rounds. He had Prates looking different kind. He did, I don't know if you want to consider that a drop that he had in the first round with Prates towards the end of the first round. So Garry's 16-1 now. He just beat an opponent on short notice. He's proving that he's ready to fight. He's ready to game, and he's reestablished himself to command a top 5 opponent again for a title shot. He's 16-1, and this is respect to him. And hopefully his next fight, he actually has a proper training camp, and we'll see what they do with him next. I mean, at this point, I think he could command something even higher than Colby Covington. Colby Covington should be old news for Ian Garry. But knowing Ian Garry, maybe he'll still take that fight if they actually do offer it to him with Colby Covington, because that's some unfinished business, the way that those two have gone back and forth. And for Prates, yeah, hopefully he can climb his way back into that top 8, top 7. Maybe they run back the Jeff Neal fight. Because the Jeff Neal fight, I thought Carlos Prates was definitely winning. And the Ian Garry fight, yeah, just didn't see what I wanted to see out of Carlos Prates. So that's that. And the rest of the card was actually really good, really exciting. You had 2 fights here, but the rest of the card was some serious finishes. First of all, MinYang first round, third straight first round KO/TKO finish in his UFC career. So he's 3-0 now in the UFC. And just as expected, just as I expected it to go, he destroyed Anthony Smith in Anthony Smith's retirement fight. Anthony Smith should have never taken this fight. That was a horrible way to end your career and go out. He got destroyed. Anthony Smith comes in, he's all puppy-eyed, looking around in awe of the arena, trying to soak it in. His daughters are there, his wife, his entire family's there watching in his final fight, just to watch Zhang MinYang throw a bunch of elbows and bust open Anthony Smith's head. Anthony Smith had this guy, it was just painted in blood by the end of that. And so much of an unnecessary beating. I don't even know why Jason Herzog did not just call the fight. I think he was really trying his hardest not to call the fight because it is Anthony Smith's last fight. And he wanted to see if Anthony Smith could somehow. But he was done, dude. Anthony Smith was done. Already from the moment Zhang MinYang cut him up, I just knew it was going to be a bloodbath and Zhang MinYang was going to unload on him. Although, Zhang MinYang did some illegal shots, right? Am I the only one that thought I saw that? I thought that a lot of the shots he was throwing at Anthony Smith were illegal elbows in the back of the head. So, I don't know what the ref was seeing. That's the way I perceived it, that Zhang MinYang was throwing so many illegal shots. It was funny, in the middle of the fight, he went to the corner because he knew he did illegal back shots to the head. He just destroyed Anthony Smith. And listen, respect to Anthony Smith, but I thought he should have retired after the last fight versus Dominic Reyes. I do not know what the point of this was, to feed into Zhang MinYang. And they gave him a nice tribute video and everything, but to get destroyed like that in front of your family, your last fight, that was one of the worst retirement fights I've ever seen. He walks in there in the first round, just gets destroyed like that. Yeah, it was not a pretty look for Anthony Smith. Zhang MinYang cut him open. And Zhang MinYang continues to showcase pretty impressive win to do that. But an old veteran like Anthony Smith, time to give Zhang MinYang some real young, up to par opposition here, Not some old head that's on his way out of the UFC to just feed him and to pack up the wins. But it helps build Zhang MinYang's name. He's still in the building stage, so the UFC has to build him up. He seems promising out of China. So, Anthony Smith, yeah, that was a horrible way to end his career. David Onama, gets the win. Pretty boring fight. Yeah, not much to say on this. Kind of a decision, but David Onama gets it done. Another very boring fight by Michel Pereira and Abus Magomedov. Horrible gas tanks by both these guys. Horrible showing. Michel Pereira, what were you doing? Michel Pereira, horrible performance. Horrible. I don't know if you're Dana White and you see that, how you could, continue to give this guy, big spots. I mean, people need to remember Michel Pereira was on, a 6-fight win streak before losing to Fluffy Hernandez. So now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Just showed nothing in that fight. Nothing with his submission game. Didn't even do a backflip mid-fight. And Abus Magomedov, okay. What I know about Abus Magomedov now from this fight is he's never going to be anything special in the middleweight division. This guy does not have the cardio for it. I don't know how these guys would make it in a 5-round fight. Abus Magomedov, he's okay, but he's nothing special. Don't expect this guy to break through and be some big names middleweight one day. I really don't think so. Not from seeing him the way he's handled this Michel Pereira fight. Just because he holds the name but of Medov doesn't mean he's going to be some amazing fighter. So that fight was horrible. Randy Brown bounces back. This guy should be on a 5-fight win streak. Shouldn't have lost to Brian Battle. He comes in second round KO on Nicholas Dalby. The Rude Boy is back. Hopefully going to get a ranking. And yeah, that was one of the cleanest KOs of the night. And Randy Brown was just in first gear the entire first round. Second round, it just looked like his way. Showing how amazing he is on the feet. Amazing performance, an amazing fight by Randy Brown. Wow. And then Ikram Aliskerov bounces back as predicted, but I did not think he would get it in the first round, but there he did it in first round KO TKO finish. Very impressive by Ikram Aliskerov after the short notice loss to Robert Whittaker. And again, that was short notice, and Robert Whittaker's Robert Whittaker. But Ikram Aliskerov to bounce like that, and with a full training camp, and to go in there and beat Andre Muniz in a KO in the first round like that, that was really impressive and just displayed how dangerous Ikram Aliskerov could be in the middleweight division with a proper training camp. And yeah, Ikram Aliskerov still a really like potential and impressive guy in the middleweight division. And yeah, the rest of the card, a lot of decisions really in the prelims. But one thing that really stood out to a lot of people and myself is Malcolm Wellmaker, UFC debut, and I mean, in there with an NPC, of course, like a guy like this, but goes in there and KOs in the first round. Just one of the cleanest KOs you'll see. Gave the crowd a really nice pop in that beginning of the night. And Malcolm Wellmaker just has that it factor written all over him at bantamweight. Another just really promising young prospect that could really be a big name in the future, given a couple of years as he works his way up. I feel like this guy has that it factor, like another of these other fighters. So a lot of exciting, really just young, up and coming talent in the UFC that's coming in, with that guy from Cameroon who fought in the last card in Mexico, Gautier. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, but yeah. So Malcolm Wellmaker was pretty impressive on the prelims. So yeah, a lot of, really decent fight night for the most part. And again, Carlos Prates, just a little bit too late, too soon. If he really just, okay, forgive my computer, I think it's lagging a little bit. But yeah, Carlos Prates, hopefully he could re-enter the top 10, 7-8 conversation, maybe run back the Jeff Neal fight. Because in the Jeff Neal fight, I definitely thought he would have won. For Ian Garry, impressive for Ian Garry to step in on short notice and do what he did. He was running most of the fight, say it as it is, and I just thought Carlos Prates had his chance in the final round to really get a buzzer beater finish. I didn't know what he had to, what prevented him from going just all in when he had Ian Garry down. But I guess whatever, just a frustrating way to finish that fight for Carlos Prates. But those are my thoughts on UFC Kansas City, and until the next time.